What is going on, everybody? I started in the house. Good morning. How are you doing? Second day in a row. She is back. Mama Bear's back. We missed you. How have you been doing? What's going on? How is the new life, the new house? How's hubby's retirement going? What's going on? Where you been? Leslie, good morning. Good morning. Leslie's over on X. David. Oh, that's me. I need to post my own comment. But yeah, what's going on? David, good morning. What is up, buddy? We're still going. I'm in the house. Mister, howdy ho. Dom keeps up unplugging my air guitar for I don't I don't know. I don't know what that means, David. I'm not sure. Good morning. Not too bad. He is home all the time. Yeah. Mixed emotions there, right? Like, yay, you're gonna be home all the time. Um, can you get out of the house, please? Sticker lab. Let's go. Um, yeah, but I bet that's different for everybody involved. Him and you guys just rocking out to the intro track, right? Yeah, sometimes I get in and start this room up like super early and I put that track on and it just like plays over and over and I'm like sitting here, I'm like, when am I gonna start this show? Because I need to get this out of my head for real. Don't damper on our routine. Okay, so I shouldn't feel as bad for, leaving, like, my wife and kids to go to work all these days. I mean, honestly, I was actually having, like, a little I don't know what you call it. It wasn't like a moment of crisis or anything like that. It was just I was going through some stuff in my head this morning about being away. So this was good that you popped in to remind me that, sometimes it's good for a dad or a mom to get away and give the others their peace and quiet. He keeps the house quiet. We make it loud with music. He reads and studies. Yeah. See, I'm trying to think of how I would affect the household differently. Um, I'm sure my wife would say yes. Like there's things that she does different around the house when I'm there or not there. So, you know, good morning, MP. How have you been, man? What's going on with you and your family? Works uh good, I'm sure. Super busy. Um yeah, I've got a woke up nose feeling a little weird. Still haven't hit that sickness yet. Been busy and fighting off the man flu. Yeah. That's so funny. I mean, that's kind of what I was thinking this morning too. Last week I felt like I had it and nothing came of it this weekend. And then today Um, felt it again a little bit. He is very regimented. We girls are mostly melted shell. Yeah, I could see that. I'm that same way too. I'm very regimented. When I'm home, when I'm here, all that stuff, and my wife and my kids. Other than like having pickup and drop off for school and stuff like that, I would say that they kind of jello it up a little bit there. Big projects to get out, crazy deadlines. Yep. Understand that, man. I had a client come through, a new referral last week and met them like once and the designer twice. And then they go out of town and she's like, the designer is like, hey, can we just try to get as much done while they're gone? And I'm like, yeah, yeah, sure. How long are they gone for? And she's like, I don't know, 5 days. So I just shoved people in there Friday, Saturday, yesterday. Yeah, stuff's getting done, so it's great. But it's pretty wild when stuff like that happens. Good morning, Abram. Abram, I saw the other day, I think it was you that scored oh man, I'm blanking, the DJ comic, like the hand drawn on the charity auction show. That was pretty sweet, man. Uh, but yeah, congrats to you. And, I'm sure a lot of it was big, big charity um deposits. I think they raised something like $65,000 or something in 24 hours. It's pretty awesome. Man flu is 100% a real thing. There's it's there. And it's the greatest. In 2 months,
Dom, do you ever make fun of your
100% of
kids
them.
for something?
All right, dude. Jason just read the page and he wants to talk about it right now, guys. We're only
Oh, no, we
7 minutes in to Dom bullshitting. We got to chat. Chat is flying for the first time in what feels like weeks. And Jason just comes in hard pivot today.
no, we
Yes,
will
dude.
no, we'll wait for 25 minutes. We're fine.
I make fun of my kids all the time, arguably way too much. Arguably 90% of our interaction. I'm just I grew up definitely one of those people, those boys that hung out in a group and all we did was bust each other's balls. Uh that was like the goal, that was the game, that was, I don't know. I don't know if that's was just normal boy life relationships in that time frame of the 80s, 90s, early 2000s, but that's the way I grew up. And unfortunately, other than when I was like initially courting a woman, like trying to date her and stuff like that, it's like my resting state. Like even at work, like I try my hardest to be professional with my guys and with my team, but once I get to a certain point of like knowing someone very well, and I've worked with them for many years, it comes out in me. And then like all of a sudden we our work I've noticed our professional relationship deteriorate a little bit because we're joshing around a little too much. How about you?
Yeah, same, except with students.
Mm,
So talking about the kid part, the first time that I was ever made fun of that really sticks in my head. A few days ago, we were talking about the things that students should be learning in school, and I brought up that in third grade we were focused. The two things I remember learning were square dancing and juggling.
okay.
And the first time that I remember being made fun of was in square dancing when my gym teacher, Mr. Slack, who was also a cool guy, but he called me a train wreck
Oh,
uh,
damn. All right.
while square dancing. And for some reason, I took major offense to that. I think it was because I was mad that we had the square dance number one. Um, I I remember not liking the girl that I was partnered with, because
Yeah.
it was third grade and I was a boy and that was a girl. So right then, deal breaker. Uh, but I went home and I told my dad, and my dad, he actually ended up talking to the teacher about it, and I definitely blew it way out of proportion just because I really hated dancing.
Yeah.
That still stuck with me because I remember like the feeling of being made fun of for something that I wasn't good at. That
Hmm.
doesn't mean I don't do it to my kids. It just
Yeah.
means that I'm aware of it.
I was gonna say, have you ever called one of your kids or one of your students a train wreck?
No,
Or is
but
that like a trigger for you and it would like cause some weird shit? Like, oh damn, I just called my daughter a train wreck. I just fucked her up for life. She's gonna remember this forever.
sorry, kids, just dealing with some trauma through you guys. Uh, the Kind of like you with your coworkers, there have been times with students where the banter goes back and forth, where that like the teacher student dynamic kind of disappears, and then all of a
Yeah.
sudden something happens, or a student takes it like past the line, and then I have to reel it back in. And once you cross that line, and maybe it's same for you, it's really hard to pull that back. It's like you have to kind
Yes.
of spend a few days not being your normal, regular, jovial self, because you have to maintain some kind of authority.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah,
sorry.
I was thinking about one person in specific in my construction career, and at some point, I feel like I deteriorated the relationship so much that, like, I couldn't, like, get his respect or have him listen to me when I would tell him to do stuff, so I just, like, stopped using the company that he worked for and, like, transitioned to another company. It's been fine ever since, and then I've just used that as a goalpost to, like, when I start to get to that point, I I try to rein it in, like, way earlier, and doing way better now, and a lot of stuff changing now that to, like, help me with that situation, like, but yeah, it's just it's trying to undo that when, like, how all of us are saying here and the reading has said, like, when that's kind of the way that we grew up, trying to undo that so that it's one thing to, like, joke around and have fun with your kids. It's another thing to plant that seed in them that dad's gonna talk shit all the time, and that they should then go do that to all their friends. And I don't know, I don't think it makes for really good relationships. I think it makes for fun and laughter and, like, a form of relationship that seems like it's a good relationship, but I don't think it's truly, like, it's not a true, deep, good, solid relationship is what I'm seeing.
Did you, sorry, to rephrase what you said, did you say that you had a crew member leave because that relationship went away? Is that what you meant?
No, I stopped using them.
I got you.
Like, and
Be
it wasn't necessarily just because of that, but one of the reasons was, like, because he and I would just, like, joke around and talk shit to each other so much, like, when I would then turn around and be like, "Hey, I really need you to do this," he wouldn't, and it would either I'd come back the next day and it wouldn't be done, or the next day, like, he would just do whatever he wanted to do, and then Josh with me every single day, and I'm like, "No, seriously, like, I need you to do this." And it was, like, getting to the point where I had to tell his boss, like, "Hey, man, can you have this guy do this?" Like, and it just got to be, like, a little uncomfortable for me that I couldn't, because I don't tell people what to do very often, and when I do, it's because it's something that I really need done, and I don't need people to not listen to me. Like, when I finally do tell you what to do, that's the last thing I want you to do is not listen to me. So it got to the point. And again, this was really early in my career and really early in my journey through all this stuff. So I'm a very different person nowadays. But
Yeah. With what was that? Friday, Thursday. Thursday, I had a group of sixth graders. I have four sixth grade classes and then two classes of seventh and eighth graders. Eighth grade Mr. Turner is different than sixth grade Mr. Turner. And seventh
hmm,
grade Mr. Turner is a little bit of a mix of both.
that makes
With
sense.
with eighth graders, I definitely joke around more because I've known them for 2 years. With sixth graders, then I'm taking this as like I did it right this year. But a sixth grader said, "Mr. Turner, why don't you smile?" And in the past, I would have taken that as, "Oh, I don't wanna come across as pissed off all the time." But
Yeah.
this year, I'm like, "Maybe that's good that they haven't seen that, like, joking around side of me right now." Like,
Hmm,
there's an unofficial rule, and it's one of the first things that my dad told me when I first started teaching. And I think this is more of like an old school way of thinking, kind of like how you were talking about how like poking each other growing
yeah.
up is more of a thing of our generation. Is don't smile till Christmas break, which
Okay.
which I don't necessarily believe in. Um, but I feel like I've done that with this particular class. So it's like they come into an art class and it's like, okay, here's this super strict dude that because like they've like I've gotten comments before of like, that's weird that you're a guy, or it's like I've always had women for art teachers. So and that I don't I'm totally fine with that. I don't mind doing that. But I'm gonna keep that. I'm gonna try to keep that vibe going with that particular class until like later towards the end of our quarter here. That seems I'm taking that as I've set the boundary correctly with that particular class that needs it.
So do you, when you go from 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, do you get more, like, what's the difference between the, like, you say it seems like you're more of the strict, don't smile, like, in the 6th grade. Is it are you, do you lighten up as it goes through to 8th grade? Like, what's the big difference between 6th and 8th?
Yeah, it's lightening up.
Good morning, Brian.
And I'm not yelling or anything. I try to keep it my intention. I'm saying intention because it doesn't always go that way, depending on the personality of the class. Is with 6th grade, they're coming from elementary, and at this time of the year, after a month of like being on the straight and narrow, they start to get comfortable, and like, the behaviors and personalities come out for better or worse. And my intention is to set the expectations of a studio with
Yeah.
materials that are used for 150 students every day. So that's the big thing. And then as like in 7th grade, they know me, I know them. I don't change very much about like studio expectations or like how to use tools or how to not burn their place down. Everything's the same. They know how it goes. They know me, I know them. They know that I know that I know them. And that's when I can start kind of loosening up a bit.
Gotcha.
Um, one time, my dad worked in northern New Jersey, and the school that he worked at was like the school where all the like the I'll say bad for
Mhm.
a lack of a better term, just like challenging kids, really rough home life, and then it comes out in school. I don't know how he was great at that place. The kids liked him. When I was a kid, I remember going in at the end of the year because he couldn't keep us at home, and 2 kids had to be like that's back when, like, they would wrestle kids out of the room. Like, a
Oh,
big guy
okay.
would come into the room, like, literally grab the kid if he was doing something and just, like, headlock him out of the room. It was intense to, like, 8-year-old me. Um,
Yeah.
so he told me this one story where there were 2 kids that were, like, bickering back and forth, and it was, like, getting elevated, and my dad walked up. This is his words, not mine. I'm assuming he was telling the truth. One kid said something really bad, and then my dad turned to the other kid and said, "Ooh, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna say back to him?" So I said that. I tried that one year. I think it was my 2nd year, and it went way off the rails. It escalated way too fast. And that was like month 1 of year 2, and I think I destroyed any teacher-student boundary for the rest of that particular class.
Yeah. I feel like it would be so weird if you're in there as a teacher and you're like, "Fight, fight, fight, fight."
Yeah.
Like,
So
but inside you really wanna see it happen.
yeah, so that was one of the less positive pieces of advice that my dad gave me about teaching. So I didn't do it again.
Got it. Um, how about mispronunciation of words? How do you how do you handle that as a teacher and a father? Like, what's your what's your go-to? Like,
So
are
mis
your
I
go ahead.
if we're talking mispronunciation of words, that's something that I've never been made fun of for that, nor have I, like, picked on a kid for it. If we go back to yesterday's reading about stuttering, like, I have students who, like, A, yes, mispronounce words, and number 2, like, some kids are not good at reading. And some kids have some kind of speech impediment, whether it's like a stutter or they're just really, really loquacious. That's a fancy term for uses a lot of words. And I'll just let them talk through it. It's like the worst thing you can do to a kid who's either mispronouncing or like trying to like get past that stutter or tick is to jump in and say what they're trying to say, even if it's in front of a class. It's
Mhm.
like if they're struggling getting those words out or their thoughts, you stand there and you let them process it. That's the best thing to do
How
because
does it has it ever came, like, to a point where, like, a kid pronounces a word and, like, the class, like, someone in the class or a couple of kids in the class just laugh and, make fun of them or whatever? Like, how do you handle that in a situation? Like, I just figure, like, middle schoolers are kind of rough sometimes,
yeah,
you know?
they can be, and I would say it's happened a lot less than I would have expected to.
Okay.
Like when I have a kid who has some kind of difficulty speaking or pronouncing or speech impediment, for the most part, the other kids know this kid and like they know
Yeah.
them from like their other classes. And for the most part, they're pretty patient and like they let them work through it. Like very once in a while, I'll have a kid who it's like I'll ask a question and I'll preface the question like, "Okay, just give me like one answer." And some kid, usually it's the kid who is very. It's either a kid who's like very maybe an oversharer,
Mhm.
and I'll call on them, and you can hear just very faint like ugh from like some kids, but they won't say anything. But I'll usually call on those kids last because more times than not, it's like they give a really thoughtful, in-depth answer, and it's a good example of like how to answer a question instead of saying I don't know or one word answers. So yeah, it's just a matter of patience. It's like showing them that you're a patient person that will make them comfortable talking in front of you because I would imagine if an adult like starts picking on you for like any kind of speech imperfection, that's going to stay with you for the rest of your life. And I don't want to be that person. So,
Yeah, that's where I get a little worried that, like, all my picking on my kids has hurt them a little bit. Like, I see it in my household a lot where, like, even the kids themselves are picking on each other, which, again, this is the way I grew up, so it all seems natural to me. But now that I'm looking at it through, like, the lens of this book and, the things, that I know now about myself, I'm seeing it, and I also get in this point where I'm like, "Oh, crap, I feel like I'm way too far gone right now," where when someone says something in the household that's kind of, silly or a little stupid or mispronunciation or anything like that, there's a couple of us that erupt, and then I hear things like my daughter is in school and she's like the quiet one when in the house she's not the quiet one. I'm like, okay, well, she's quiet because she's embarrassed or like worried about what she's gonna say. So there's a lot of that stuff going on that I'm a little concerned about. And I don't know, like, I don't have an inside scoop into the classroom. And I feel like a lot of time at these like parent teacher conferences, I don't know if it's good teachers or bad teachers or what it is, but I feel like they always seem to say that the kids are doing well. And then I see like struggle with my kids at home. And I just wonder how much the teachers can pay attention, especially in middle school level when you're seeing, hundreds of kids a day, every day. If they actually like, I know all the stuff that I got away with in middle school and high school. And so I know for a fact that teachers don't see 50, 60% of the stuff that goes on. Maybe more, maybe less. I don't know.
there's definitely things that I've missed before, for sure, especially in like big classes. Um,
Yeah.
I had one parent over the past 2 years that was just so super involved. Like, something would happen in my class, and the kid would email the parents from their iPad from that class, and I would hear from the parent through email during that class. Um, like,
Wow.
and like it's like, can that was one of the few tough relationships that I had. The kid was great. Um, Super awesome artist, just really quiet. And I honestly think it's one of the situations where the kid just got really used to the mom handling
Hmm.
all of the stuff. And I'm very curious as to how high school is going for them. Um,
Yeah.
with that kind of uh, I would say it was a bit like over the top as far as like advocating for your kid. But so yeah, like the classroom is one thing. What about you at home? Like with your kids, do you find that like your three kids, do they pick on each other for certain things that you feel like
Yeah.
you have to
That's what
correct?
I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It's really bad at times. Like we have a thing going on right now that we can't quite get our kids out of. But I think it's partly because of the age gap, because there's such an age gap between them, but w- like our kids helicopter parent each other. So it's like whenever like Bentley does something, like I joke, but it's truth that he has like three moms that like are all trying to correct him or help him or fix him or make whatever. But like obviously the girls, my daughters, they do it in a little bit more of a mean way. Um and and then Amy and I have to like, basically like silence them in order to then talk with Bentley, or like undo whatever damage they did uh with their comments. And then going out of the Bentley, like whenever Brooklyn's doing something, or like what was it the other day, like Brooklyn came upstairs and she was just asking for help with math, but it was very much like, even I kind of struggled to like not make fun of her. So she comes upstairs and she's like, I need help turning percentages into decimals. And she gave a problem that was like, it ended up being like 0.40, right? And so I can't remember what the fraction was. And then she comes back, she goes downstairs, she writes it down, she says thank you, and then she comes back upstairs and she's like, okay, now I need help changing a decimal to a fraction. And we're like, okay, well, what's the decimal? And she's like 0.40. And we're like, we literally just gave you this answer the reverse. So it's, like, what I'm saying? Like, it just kind of seemed like a silly moment, that like she didn't recall that it was just the reverse of it's like if you came to me and said, hey, what's 2 plus 3? And I said it's 5, and then you came back to me and said, okay, but what is 3 plus 2? I'm like, what the fuck? So just one of those moments. Brooklyn's 12. And she's very much like, math is like her most difficult subject right now, I think.
Mhm.
I think she's just struggling with a lot of it, is all. I don't know. There's a lot going on in our household.
I'm enjoying Mama Bear's comments here.
I am too. I'm trying to focus on what she's saying. I want but yes.
Yeah. I think it'd be good to have Mama Bear on sometime this month.
Yeah, let's,
Yeah.
let's do it. Mama Bear, let us know your schedule and when works for you to come up and hang out, so we can let you actually chat and not have to type.
Yeah. Me and Kristen, we sometimes have sometimes there's times, sounds weird. There's times when there's something going on at school that sometimes Kristen feels like she should jump in on and comment, which we generally agree on. when we have to kind of jump in. And in the past, it's mostly been personality conflicts or like a issue with another student. Um, I may be overthinking what her intention is with contacting the teacher, because I have the teacher point of view where
Mhm.
I think, okay, if a parent contacted me with what Kristen wants to talk about, how would I handle it? And sometimes my thought process is, well, I'm probably aware of what's going on, and I've probably addressed it at some point. But there are times when the parent has to step in.
Yeah.
So, and parent involvement is always a positive. It's like the more that I get emails from parents, that tells me that like they care. I got my first email this year from a parent who was very anti AI,
Okay.
and I got like a very long paragraph on their point of view on how like students shouldn't be using it in school. It's bad for the environment, and it ended up being a good conversation. And by conversation, I mean I spent some time and responded to each one of these points, because our district is very much in the pushing out AI and getting students to be able to use it. I never really heard back. I think the principals ended up taking that over,
Mm. Did you
but
respond using AI?
I did not. But I thought about it.
Or, like, give, like, 2 responses? You'd be like, "Here's my response, and then here's
Yeah.
my response."
There have been times when it's like one of the things that I've done before is like I'll type an email out and I'll just say, "Hey, make this more concise."
Yeah. Oh, I do it all the time.
Specifically,
I love it.
yeah,
It
specifically for communication's sake.
the only thing that I worry about is it becoming like a
The
too
default.
clean of a version of my response, and then when people actually talk to me or start to see more emails from me, they're like, "Hey, what happened to the guy that was, like, sending the emails in the beginning?" You know, it's kinda like when I meet new clients, I dress a little nicer,
Yeah,
and then as I go through the process, like, I just dress in a t-shirt and I do wear shorts even though you don't believe me. I'm
and then
just
they
gonna
catch
start sending you pictures of my lower half
well, thank you.
so
It's about time we
so
learned
so
about,
so that you know.
does Dom wear pants in the morning or not? Let's find out. I'm saying no. You won't
There's
stand up right now.
Brian.
Guarantee
I
you won't
knew I'd
stand up
wake
right
him
now,
up.
Dom. Stand up right now. You won't. Oh, you'll do it. Okay. All right.
It's
Thank you.
shorts, dude. Calm down. I don't have dogs. There's no reason I need to open that door. It's there, but I don't need to get up, Jason.
Um,
I just woke up Brian and MP from whatever they were doing. They were just listening. They're like, "Hold on, where's my phone? I got a text. I got a text."
he stood up. Finally, the question's been answered. Um,
Oh
last, yeah,
man.
last thing on AI. When Kristen was, this was last year when I've been, I'd been using it for school, and Kristen was having she's having a very difficult time at work, and was typing this email, and she was like, "I need you to read this because I feel like I'm coming off too mad." And I was like, "Just use ChatGPT." And she was
Yeah.
like, "Jason, come on, this is serious." And I'm like, "I'm serious. Use Chat."
Yeah.
Uh,
Same thing with my wife. She was doing something and it was a very similar thing. And she's like, I think she was quitting. Like she was quitting. And she was like, "I don't know how to like write this." And I'm like, "Honey, throw it into Chat GPT." And she's like, "I don't understand how to do that." And I'm like, "Okay, that's fine. I pay for a membership. Just send me whatever you want to send me and I'll do it for you." And I would just send her stuff back and she's like, "Oh my God." She's like, "This is great." And then now she's like all about it. She's putting it in everything in there now. So
yeah.
it
Um,
works. It's great, folks. If you're fighting it, don't fight it. I don't think anyone in here is fighting it.
no, I would say from my point of view, the whole issue um, with the controversy with showing kids I would say for the most part, at least from my point of view, kids are mostly kind of sick of it. Like, yes, there's times when they'll use it for assignments, but I would say for the most part, our school and hopefully our district is very mindful of how we teach them how to use it, not as a crutch, more as just an additional resource. But
Yeah.
I've gotten to the point where it's like, hey, we're going to use AI for this particular part of this assignment. I'll definitely get some size and some head drops. So I feel like I've been successful. You know,
Yeah, I was just
it's
thinking, like, just now, I actually should, like, one good way the kids could be using it is just be like, "This is my math problem. Can you help me out as if you were my tutor?
yeah,
Teach me this," and then, like, they could chat it out as if they're talking to a tutor. I mean,
yeah,
it's relatively, simple math, so it'd be really easy for AI to kinda go through all that, and so I just thought of that, so
yeah. The trick is teaching. It's really teaching how to ask good questions.
the prompt, yeah.
That's the real teaching moment there.
Yep,
Um, I gotta go because, oh man, 7:08. Yeah, I gotta go. Um, as always,
sounds
Don,
good, man.
see you.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Appreciate you guys all coming through and blowing up our chat. Like I said, we've had weeks of what felt like a dead chat. So it's really fun getting to talk with everybody. Glad you're all doing well, and we will see you tomorrow.
Getting the
Thank you,
band back
everybody.
together.
Yep.
Right.